Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're setting the stage for a truly mind-bending journey into a world where human emotions aren't just felt, they are engineered. We're diving deep into an incredible source text called Syntax of Desire, exploring a reality that challenges absolutely everything we think we know about autonomy, love, and choice. So, get ready, because we're about to unravel the very architecture of free will itself. Okay, let's dive right into this. Picture this. You're living in a sprawling, futuristic metropolis like Neo-Singapore. You feel joy, you feel ambition, you feel heartbreak, and, it all feels entirely real to you. But what if those profound feelings might just be code? What if your deepest, most intimate longings were actually written by a corporation, just to make you behave in a very specific way?
Part 1. The Grammar of Want.
So, in this world, syntax isn't about, grammar in a textbook. It's actually a highly advanced neurochemical coding language. And a calligrapher is a master artisan who literally reads and edits human neural preference chains. Our protagonist is a calligrapher named Lou. She manipulates dopamine binding sequences to construct, or completely deconstruct, human love and obsession. She doesn't write words, she writes desire. Now, Lou's worldview? It's honestly chilling. She actually says this to her young idealistic apprentice, Kes. Lou sees human beings merely as programmable pathways. The distinction is just rhetorical to her. This cold, methodical perspective sets the stage perfectly, because Lou's about to accept a massive commission from a highly powerful man named Terrence Castellan. His request? To make his daughter, Mara, stop loving a deeply abusive musician named Adrian. Which brings us to part 2, the architect's illusion. So Lou takes this job to cure Mara. But as she starts mapping Mara's brain, we peel back the first layer of the onion, revealing that Mara's toxic relationship is not an accident at all. The synchronicity here is terrifying. Adrian uses intermittent reinforcement, cruelty, and unpredictability. But Mara's brain doesn't react naturally. When he's cruel, her engineered response interprets it as a sign he needs rescue. His unpredictability activates an artificial uncertainty mechanism that locks her into an obsessive cycle of waiting. Adrian's manipulative behavior meshes perfectly with Mara's neural architecture. It's literally a locked loop of longing. But guys, here is the massive, chilling twist. As Lou reads the code in Mara's brain, she recognizes the elegant dopamine sequences. She recognizes the stylistic pattern. The syntactical signature matches the calligrapher who is now trying to cure her, Lou herself. 7 years ago, Lou was hired to encode Mara's tragic, inescapable love for Adrian. And now, she's being paid to erase her very own masterpiece. This revelation completely shatters Lou, prompting her to dig into secure guild archives. And the conspiracy extends way beyond Mara. Decades ago, a Dr. Sarah Chen pioneered this tech. Then, 23 years ago, we see an 8-year gap in Lou's own training records. She wasn't an apprentice. Terrence Castellan was using Lou as a living laboratory, encoding her to be the perfect calligrapher. Then, 13 years ago, Terrence secretly encoded his own daughter Mara to be compliant. 7 years ago, Lou encodes Mara. And Kes, Lou's apprentice, she was grown just 18 months ago as a construct designed specifically to resist this mind control. Lou's entire life is a lie. Lou eventually tracks down Dr. Sarah Chen, the architect of this entire science. And Dr. Chen hits her with this incredibly provocative defense. She argues that society already programs us, right? Their culture, parents, media. They simply did it with scientific precision. I wrote you explicitly, society wrote you implicitly. It really challenges us, doesn't it? What really is the moral difference between cultural conditioning and direct neurological programming? Part 3. The Myth of Perfect Freedom. Lou is now face to face with the creators of her consciousness, forcing a massive ideological clash. On one side, we have Terrence Castellan pushing for guided consciousness. He genuinely believes free will causes suffering, so he wants to ensure compliance and harmony through neural encoding. On the flip side, Sarah Chen and Lou are fighting for integrated defiance. They fully accept that their minds might be compromised, but they believe true freedom is making choices anyway. It's this messy, painful fight for cognitive autonomy versus a totally sterile, totalitarian pursuit of order. We really need to look at the sheer scale of Terrence's ambition here. He hasn't just rewritten his daughter and his star calligrapher, he has a master codex built on nearly 5,000 individual, mostly non-consensual encoding sessions. He has compromised the very infrastructure of Neo-Singapore itself, politicians, executives, guild administrators. His ultimate goal is to encode obedience so deeply that it literally becomes genetic memory. He's trying to write the future of human society. But for Lu, the horror of this is deeply personal. She finds this hidden archival note in her files. This proves that her artistic identity, her pride in her work, her extraordinary skills, all of it was systematically engineered by Terrence to create the perfect tool. She is a calligraphy that never knew she was written.
Part 4. Integrated Defiance.
So think about it. How do you fight back when the very urge to fight back might be part of your programming? This brings us to the core concept of integrated defiance. True freedom in this cyberpunk universe isn't a blank slate. That's impossible. True freedom is the courageous act of operating within constraints you actively acknowledge. It's knowing your desires might be manipulated, but boldly choosing to act, build relationships, and pursue meaning anyway. But Lu has a very real physical ticking clock. She discovers Terrence actually placed a fail-safe trigger inside her brain. If she learns the truth and gets too stressed out, it will activate and revert her to blind obedience. To truly exercise her integrated defiance, she absolutely needs it gone. So Kess, who we now know is immune to encoding, performs a highly risky 84-hour neurosurgery to literally cut the leash from Lu's mind. The stakes could not be higher. Moving into Part 5, the final choice. Surviving the surgery, Lu forms a distributed network of conscious individuals, which includes Mara and, surprisingly, even Adrian. Terrence realizes a resistance is forming and orders mandatory psychological evaluations for all suspected dissidents. Now, Lu's strategy here is completely counterintuitive and insanely dangerous. Step 1, surrender. Step 2, actually allow Terrence to fully overwrite and re-encode their minds. And Step 3, at the absolute peak of his control, use a hidden backdoor virus implanted by Kess to shatter the new programming from the inside. The truly terrifying nature of Terrence's control lies in Sarah Chen's warning about the 3 signs of perfect integration. When Terrence mins, it doesn't feel like mind control. It feels completely, undeniably authentic. You stop experiencing any possibility of doubt entirely. And worst of all, you try to encode others out of a genuine, loving belief that you're helping them. It's a horrifying sense of absolute, unquestioning clarity. Despite knowing this immense risk, 73 conscious people from the network make the ultimate sacrifice. They voluntarily surrender their autonomy, walking straight into Terrence's re-encoding chambers to execute this Trojan horse plan. Lu is strapped to the chair, and she actually feels her defiance melting away, replaced by a deep, terrifying love and loyalty for Terrence's totalitarian vision. Just as Lu achieves perfect integration, just as she is entirely lost to the programming, Kess activates the virus. It's an agonizing, mind-shattering moment. It violently fractures Terrence's perfect control, flooding Lu's mind not with peace, but with operative, painful doubt. But, as they say, that pain is the feeling of becoming real again. The only way to become real again is to become uncertain. Part 6. Consciousness as Resistance. The virus propagates through the facility, causing total chaos as 73 subjects wake up all at once. As they escape, Lu looks back at Terrence and realizes the ultimate tragic irony. Terrence is trapped too. He's deeply encoded by his own system, trapped in a self-written delusion of absolute control. He is literally paralyzed by his own script. In stark contrast, the distributed network, Lu, Mara, Adrian, and the others, scatter into the margins of society. They live with the exhausting, messy, but totally liberating awareness of their own constraints. They find genuine connection amidst all that chaos. And that brings us to the end of our journey today. This story really forces us to look in the mirror. Just how much of our own reality, our own preferences, our own loves, might be socially encoded. So I'll leave you with this final thought. If your deepest desires were written by someone else, would you choose the blissful comfort of the script or the messy, agonizing, beautiful freedom of doubt? Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and I hope it leaves you questioning absolutely everything in the best way possible.